Hello, my amigos. Welcome to Life with the Side of Autism. Today I'm going to be sharing my October Memory of the Month, so stay tuned. This Memory of the Month has to do with Halloween, and I think Bradley was maybe 4. And we were living in California, and we were visiting my mom and dad and they were actually, it was the neighborhood that I grew up in. So we were visiting, my parents at, my old stomping grounds. And I just grew up in a neighborhood that was really, really wonderful to trick-or-treat in. And so I was there with my 2 boys, with Ryan and Brad, and we were taking them around to go trick-or-treating. And Bradley was 4, and he really wasn't that interested in it. But, we were making him go through the motions. He had a little costume on. He didn't want to wear a mask. And I think he was Winnie the Pooh. I have a pretty good memory that he was Winnie the Pooh that year. And so, we'd walk up to the door, and of course, Ryan would say, trick or treat, and hold out his stuff and, get his bag full of candy. And Bradley would just kind of walk up there and just stand there. But then I realized that Bradley was ringing people's doorbell and standing there. Then he was going like this. And I'm like, he's looking at their ceiling fan. Because if you've heard stories about my son Bradley before, you know that he loves ceiling fans, and he's loved ceiling fans for a long time. So I really wasn't sure what to do. I wanted him to act appropriate and get the candy, but he didn't really care about the candy. He did discover though, I like looking in people's houses because they have ceiling fans. So it was one of those things where I just kind of embraced it, and I just said, yeah, he doesn't really care about your candy, but he loves ceiling fans. I'd be like, oh yeah, go ahead and look at my ceiling fan. And he'd just walk in there and look at the ceiling fan and then say thank you and leave. So that's kind of how Halloween just evolved at our house. And, every year he could not wait for Halloween. He would put on a costume because he knew if he put on a costume and got out there, he would be able to see ceiling fans. People would, of course, offer him candy, and he'd look at it and, no thanks. He's not really into sweet foods, not really into the candy. But if there is a ceiling fan, he loved it. He would start to remember the houses that did have the ceiling fans and, want to go back there year after year. And of course, people remembered him. And it was just, one of those opportunities that I really had, in the, like 25 years ago, to say to people like, my son has autism, and they'd be like, Rain Man? It's like, yeah, Rain Man, the movie. But just to, just say, here's a child with autism, and we found that he just really likes ceiling fans. Can you look at your ceiling fan? And people were being, so kind. I mean, I think some people thought it was kind of weird, but for the most part, people were very nice and very kind and just thought, wow, here's a child with a disability. Sure, come in and look at my ceiling fan. And they were nice. They knew my parents a lot of times. They knew me from growing up. So it was just a nice experience, just thinking, back to that time before there was so much autism awareness. And where now everybody knows somebody with autism, just kind of going back and thinking, Bradley really educated a lot of people a quarter of a century ago about, autism and, what it looked like. And they weren't, all Rain Mans who could, count matchsticks or toothpicks on the floor. So if you have a great memory about your child that you'd want to share, I would love to hear about it. If you even want, send a pic, but drop it into the comments below. Everybody would like to hear about it. Have a safe and happy Halloween with your child, and thanks for coming and sharing some time with me on Life with the Side of Autism. I hope you follow this channel, and we'll see you next month with my next memory. Take care.